Good day. Today I'm going to be discussing chapter 8, routing for React. And I'm here with my navigator, Courtney. Hi, Courtney.
Hello. Hi.
Alright, cool. So let's jump into it. So basically, simply just working with routing for our single page application. So basically, routing works with URL paths, right? So URL paths just basically helps the website know which page or content to show. And what we also do is what we also did is we used the nav bar as well, right? Um, it's a navigation menu built with React Bootstrap components. So the purpose of it is to move between different pages or views in our app. And then we also used um, what we call a switch in the React router. So basically, the switch component comes from the React router DOM and it's used to render only the first route that matches the current URL path. So basically, you'll have like a switch tag, and then all the routes in there basically help with our URL pathing. So let's see how that works. So here's our front end, and we have these different links or different buttons, right? Here, when you click GitHub, it accesses this page, so it shows this GitHub component that works with the API, and you can search and get the data. Then you can click table. This URL path takes us to this table that displays different desserts, and then I went ahead to create a contact page which takes us to this contact form where you fill in the name, email, and the message. So basically, firstly, you have our main file here, index.js. This is basically the launcher of the application, right? Oh, sorry, that's chapter 5. My bad. Chapter 8. Here. So yeah, this is basically the launcher of the application. So we attach app over here and we render that. So our app component, before we use the app component, I've imported basically these components. So dessert, so it can show all the desserts when we click the link, the contact components as well to show the contact page. Then imported browser router, routes, and switch in order to work with the URLs, as well as navbar from React Bootstrap. Then this is the component, right? And within it we have over here this navbar, right? And within it we've placed these different href links. So href links, these are basically the links for that we click in the front end over here on the top, which take us to the necessary pages that we need. So for the GitHub table and the contact page. But in order for that to work, we have to set the URL paths within our switch tags over here. So basically, as you can see, the first path over here, we have the GitHub component attached to this path. And that takes us to that GitHub component, which is here. And it shows basically, it works with the API and it shows all that data in the front end. Then for the home page, and then because we imported the dessert component, we have a URL path for dessert and attach the dessert component to it. So basically, that is this component over here, right? This component is basically just showing a table with different desserts, and that is done in a list with a dictionary, in an array with an object, right? and key value pairs, and it displays all that information in table format over here. So because it's attached within the switch over here, we can basically access that page when we click the URL in the front end. Then I went ahead and created the contact component. So I attached it over here, right, with this URL path / contact, and the contact components I created is over here. Basically, as you can see, it takes a name, email, and message, right, within state. So whatever the user puts in there will be the current state of the name, email, and message. And I use the handle submit in order to submit the contact details in the front end. And after doing that, it shows the alert, thank you for contacting us. And then I have different stylings as well, Bootstrap stylings for the contact form. And then the handle submit function is called when I click the submit button. So that is triggered as well. And yeah, as you can see, it takes the name, email, and the message as well. And then the submit button is there too. So that's the page we access as soon as we go into the link for contact, and it shows the contact component, as we can see over here. And then when I click submit, it shows the message, well, this alert basically. So yeah, that's basically the summary for chapter 8. Courtney, is there anything you want to add? Any questions?
No, you pretty much covered everything. Well done.
Alright, cool.